So the New Orleans Pelicans, their season is officially over. Going from one of the hottest teams in the league early on this season, and many people locking them in as an actual contender or at least having a shot to now not even making the playoffs. They lost at home in the play-in, and there's a lot of questions that the Pelicans are really going to have to answer this offseason. A lot of questions about what direction should they move going forward. They have some really nice pieces, some really nice talent, and a lot of promise and upside, but are dealing with big elephants in the room, right? One of those is Zion Williamson. What are they going to do with Zion? He is undoubtedly an incredible talent. 26, 7, and 5 when he plays nightly. The guy is just a freak of nature on the basketball court, just incredibly dominant. But he's now been in the NBA for 4 seasons and has played he's played 114 games total in 4 years. 114. His rookie year, he played in 24 games. The following year, he played in 61 games. That's the most he's played so far in his career. And last year, he didn't play at all. And this year, he played a whopping 29 games. And again, he's been great. That year that he played 61 games for the Pelicans, he gave them 27 points, 7.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, a block, a steal, and was just a dominant force. Again, he's great when he can play. 61% from the field. He even had a season where he shot 42% from three, although that was his rookie year and 24 game sample size. And then this year, all this promise, all this hope, all this excitement. The Pelicans are cruising and grooving and all seems right. And then he gets hurt again and missed the rest of the season. And the Pelicans, they fought and clawed and they had some really nice stretches. They looked really good. And then other parts, they looked terrible and they just dropped the ball towards the end. They were hot towards the end of the season. They won like 8 of 10 games and really started to build this momentum. They were looking great against the Timberwolves on the road and looked like they were going to lock up that matchup against the Lakers. And then the Timberwolves are sitting there trying to kill each other and implode in front of all of our eyes, and the Pelicans end up losing. And they go and drop to that 9-10 spot, and they just couldn't handle business. And they were winning that game. They had several opportunities to win that game. They were winning that game late. Brandon Ingram was hitting some big shots and having some great moments, and it just didn't work out for them. And look, the Pelicans have a solid core even without Zion. But even Brandon Ingram, right? He played 45 games this year. And he's a guy who is the most games he's played is his rookie season, which he played 79 games. Since then, his most have been 62 games. He hasn't played enough games to qualify for any of the awards once the new CBA kicks in. The last 3 years, or since he's came, let's do it for the 4 years he's been with the Pelicans, right? 4 years he's been with the Pelicans. He played 62 games, 61 games. That's not bad. Not terrible, right? That's actually pretty good. 55 games and 45 games. He has gone down every year. 62, 61, 55, 45. He played half of the season this year. And look, when he plays, he's a 25, 6-6 guy. And he's good for a block, a steal. He's an incredible talent with his size and his length and his ability to just get to his spots and do the things that he can do. Seriously, he is an incredible talent as well. But you can't have your two best players just playing half the season every year. And I mean, one of them playing a quarter of the season. It's not going to work, right? Unless you just have like a really good all around team. That's just, they're just, you have a bunch like Trey Murphy emerges as this like elite 3-and-D guy, which he could. He's been solid for them, right? Or, CJ McCollum turns back the clock somehow, some way. Because he's been pedestrian. He really has. He hasn't been the guy that they need him and hope that he can. And there was a lot of hype with CJ, right? He came to the Pelicans. They were looking good with him. They were figuring it out. There were some questions in the offseason of like, okay, well, now they're going to have Zion, they're going to have CJ, and they're going to have Ingram when all three of those guys are on the court. How does that look? But it was like CJ is so unselfish and he has no problem kind of taking that back seat, which he did. And it was grooving. It was looking really good. And they have some very nice pieces, some very nice young guys. I mean, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy are a great sort of defensive pairing. You know, Dyson Daniels, he's a nice young piece that they're going to have for a while. Jackson Hayes, they're almost better off. They're almost better off rebuilding. Seriously, like, do you trade Brandon Ingram? Do you trade Zion Williamson? Because there's some teams that would definitely give you some packages for those guys, right? Do you just trade those two guys, get a bunch of great young talent, great young assets, and then, you know, kind of rebuild and retool? Or maybe you trade Zion. I guarantee you the Knicks would give you a package for him. Can you get like RJ Barrett and, you know, Grimes and a bunch of firsts and stuff like that? Like, that's not a bad idea, right? At least they'll play, and at least Barrett, yeah, I mean, Zion could be the best player in the world, but if he never plays, what use is he? And same thing with Brandon Ingram. I mean, you can start making an argument that Brandon Ingram, he's having foot injuries, he's having all kinds of problems, and that usually doesn't get better for taller guys, right? So do they just decide, hey, let's blow it up? Trade CJ for whatever we can, trade Ingram for whatever we can, trade Zion for whatever we can. You'd still have Trey Murphy, Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, you'd still have Jackson Hayes. You'd still have a very nice, young, quality core, right? A nice, young team that you can build and start retooling and maybe hit on a couple draft picks and stuff, and all of a sudden you're there. It's either that or you package some pieces, some of these younger guys, and go get that other star or that other piece. You know, can you go and take, I mean, you probably got to keep Murphy, but can you go take like Herb Jones and Jackson Hayes with a couple firsts and go get, I don't know, Bradley Beal or something like that, and hope that, you know, CJ, Beal, Ingram, and Zion are enough to get this done? I mean, obviously you'll probably have to include more than just Jackson Hayes and Murphy for, you know, salary matching stuff like that. But can you go and get something like that and have a starting five of like CJ, Beal, Murphy, Ingram, and Zion? Maybe that could work. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for the Pelicans. But they're really going to have to figure this out. And there is a real question and real argument to be made for trading Zion. The problem is if he does get healthy and he does become the guy that he's supposed to be and you trade him, then you look like the fool. It's like, oh, you should have been patient. You should have waited. But this is going to be year 5 now. And it's like, how long are they supposed to wait? This guy's going to be due for another contract by the time he actually plays a full season, if he ever does. I don't know. I don't think anyone would really blame the Pelicans if they traded Zion, assuming you get a quality package. Like if you trade Zion straight up for like RJ Barrett and like 2 firsts, then yeah, you deserve what you get. But I mean, if they can get a real package, if they can get a nice quality, just sort of roster, right? Like, can you work out a deal to go get like Miles Turner and Buddy Hield? You know, imagine the starting 5 of like CJ McCollum. You know, you have Brandon Ingram. You have you know, Trey Murphy, and then you have Herb Jones with Miles Turner. Got a shot blocking, floor spacing big. You also got a dead eye shooter off the bench who shot like 45%. And you know, obviously you need some draft picks, compensation, stuff like that too. But yeah, I don't know. I is that some people might look at that and go, oh, like that's a terrible package for Zion. But if you're a team that's trading for Zion, you don't know if he's ever going to play. Yeah, like what team is going to sell the farm or give the farm for Zion when he's playing 29 games a season? That's a real question, right? He could end up being a Greg Oden, which I hope not. He's an incredible dynamic force when he's on the basketball court. It sucks to see him. And look, I am far from a Pelicans fan, but I do like Zion as a player, and I think that and I hate seeing players get hurt and all that stuff, and this is their career, this is what they've worked so hard for their whole lives to get to this point. I want to see him have success. I want to see him be able to play and be there on a nightly basis, but it's getting really bleak. It really is. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Think they should trade Zion? Think they should trade Zion and Brandon Ingram and CJ and just full-on rebuild? Do you think that, no, keep these guys? Do you think, trade some of the younger guys, some of the young talent that they have and go get some more veteran guys? I don't know. However you feel, let me know down in